Hi, I'm Gayla Scrivener, ex-corporate girl and now work-from-anywhere adventure seeker. Creating a work-from-anywhere lifestyle isn't without its challenges, but those challenges certainly don't overshadow all the many benefits. What breaks my heart is seeing folks stuck and unhappy in a career and lifestyle when they want more out of life. I believe that we all have the opportunity to create the life of our dreams and earn a living in fun and creative ways to make our dream lifestyle a reality. You too can experience wonderful adventure and freedom as you live life on your own terms. In this weekly podcast, I share experiences when it comes to growing a lifestyle business through guest interviews, content marketing experience and perspectives, virtual leadership lessons, and I'll even throw in some travel adventures. My hope is through all the interviews, the tips, advice, and personal experience, you'll be inspired and motivated to keep going and creating your dream lifestyle. Life's an adventure. There's no time but the present to live life to the fullest. Hi there, and welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here today because today I'm going to talk about 5 practical ways to grow your email list. Now, chances are you probably already know that you should be growing your email list. If not, well, I'm telling you, you should be growing your email list. There are so many elements when it comes to content creation and content marketing, but your email list should be treated like gold. Why? Because the emails that you have in your possession are from those who you know and who have given you permission to communicate with them. It's a privilege to have an email address. I believe it was Seth Godin who coined the phrase permission marketing quite some time ago, actually. It means that a subscriber will give you permission to be marketed to, and that's fantastic. They opt in to receiving offers and announcements from you. They're giving you permission to communicate further with them. If the messages no longer pertain to them and they're no longer interested, well, they can always opt out. Even though it's always a little tinge at the heart that someone unsubscribes to your list. I know how it feels. It just feels like, oh man. But the reality is, it's okay. Because what you're left with are those who still want to hear from you. And it's okay to have unsubscribes because who you're communicating with are those that really want to hear from you. And the message applies and you're helping them. Out of all the other means of communication, email addresses are yours and they should rank higher than how many followers you have on social media, for example. Although social platforms are a viable and fantastic means of communication, now don't get me wrong, you have absolutely no control over who sees your messages in social media. That's beyond your control. It's not your platform. It's someone else's platform that you're using. Now, Facebook could shut down tomorrow and all your thousands of followers would be gone. You'd have to start over on another social platform. And you probably are active on more than one platform. And some of your followers are the same regardless of platform. For each platform, social platform that you start from scratch with no followers. Besides, social media is a spray and pray type of communication. It's a broadcast messaging system that is cluttered with ever-changing algorithms. You can pay for advertisement to get into the news feed of those with some of the same qualities as your ideal client, but you're still at the mercy at somebody else's algorithms. And is there anything wrong with that? No, not really. It's just how it is. The algorithms have their purpose. And the truth of the matter is, the person who owns that platform gets to set the rules. We don't own Facebook, and we don't set Facebook's rules. And what Facebook wants to do is think of the end user and try to figure out the right algorithms to make their user experience better. At least that's what they say. So that's why, in tandem with using any social platform to communicate with your followers, you should always, always, always be growing your email list. There's a high probability that at the exact moment that someone discovers you, they aren't ready to buy from you yet. They most likely will need to get to know you a bit better before they pull the trigger on whatever you may offer. Or the timing isn't right for them at that very moment. They give you their email because they want to keep that option open. They want to learn more from you. They want to hear more from you. And sometimes that's a daunting task to increase your email list. Sometimes you may feel like your numbers are just dismal and maybe just flatlining altogether. And I bet you follow online marketers just like I do, or have gone to our course and they talk about email lists saying they have thousands and even hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And you think, oh my gosh, am I ever going to get there? It seems like a huge mountain to climb. And here you are, just with a very few emails on your list, if any. Maybe it's just your mom, your dad, your cousin. You sigh and you're like, how can I grow my list? But don't let the size of your list discourage you. Keep at it. Continually work at it. Over time, you'll get your momentum up. So today, I'm going to give you 5 practical ways to increase your email list. And implementing these systems and then keep going around on all of these, over time, you're going to be increasing your list systematically. So let's go to the first one. Downloadable. Create a simple checklist, a workbook, an ebook, something simple that's in your expertise wheelhouse. A little something that someone can get in exchange for their email address. And keep it simple. I know myself, I tend to get things a little more complicated, but let's keep it simple, especially at first. If you don't have any opt-in at all on your website, it's time to get one on there. How on earth will you receive emails if you don't give people an opportunity to give it to you? So if you have that little downloadable, put that in more than one place on your website. Put it in different strategic places where it makes sense. If you have an opt-in on your website but aren't getting any traction with it, are you talking about it? Are you sharing it on social? Are you systematically telling people about it? If you aren't getting any traction with it, perhaps the messaging is a little off. But don't let that discourage you. No, don't leave it to just one opt-in. Try another opt-in, or try repackaging or rewording a little bit. Over time, you'll be building a library of opt-ins, a library of options of people wanting a piece of information in exchange for their email address. Your opt-ins will come in handy to refresh and reuse during different marketing campaigns. So your first option and the first thing that you should have is some sort of downloadable. And that's a great way to start. A second way to gather email addresses is a mini course. Provide a little 3 or 5 day course in exchange for an email address. And don't get fancy with it, with having to get course software like Thinkific or Udemy or Teachable. Just keep it simple. Keep it short, keep it relevant. All you have to do is upload the videos to YouTube and set the visibility option to unlisted, so it's not going to be in the search results. Then, in your email marketing system like MailChimp, you can set up an autoresponder series to have a short message with a link to the day's videos. The videos are spread out over like the 3 to 5 day span. So, in order for this person to get this mini course, they don't have to have a user ID or password on a system like Thinkific or Udemy or Teachable. No, they're going to get those classes right there in their inbox. So the only way that they can get that mini course is right there in their inbox. So number 3, offer exclusive content. In exchange for an email address, offer folks access to things that you won't publish on your blog. It's a little bit more in depth than what a blog post may be or what a podcast episode would be. Perhaps, go into more detail. Give a little bit more meat to the content. A great example of who does this very well is the Prospect Research Institute. And if you're in the fundraising and nonprofit field, you can get a free knowledge seeker membership to the Prospect Research Institute. And you get access for some really great resources, behind the scenes tools, and you get to network with other fundraising professionals worldwide. And that is a great use of exclusive content. It's like a free membership almost. And so in exchange for that email address, you're giving people exclusive content. You're creating a tribe, a community, to where you can talk with them later or along the way and let them know about other offerings that they may or may not want to opt into. A 4th way is host a webinar. Hosting a webinar on something that you can teach others is a great way to gather email addresses. They gave you their email to see your webinar, and you can follow up with them. Keep the webinar operations simple, though, especially at first, and especially if you haven't done it before. Don't worry about fancy webinar equipment, fancy cameras, fancy computers and lighting and all of that. Just get the word out and send a Zoom link in the confirmation and email reminders. Later, you'll be able to fancy things up when you get good at it. Just keep it simple. If you don't keep it simple at first and take baby steps, your first webinar may be your last. It's all a process, so be gracious with yourself and keep it simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just offer something in exchange for an email address. And the 5th way of growing your email list, and this may be the most overlooked means of increasing your email list, but certainly the most effective. Ask. Yeah. When you're talking to somebody, simply ask them if they'd be interested in hearing from you again, and if it's okay to add them to your email list. A verbal okay is perfect. It's just fine. So let's say you're at a networking event, either live or virtual, it doesn't matter. And you're talking with somebody and that conversation was sparking some interest, mutual interest. And you are interested in them, they're interested in you. Simply verbally ask them to be on your list. It opens up a communication door for you. And most of the time, they're going to say yes. And if they don't, never take it personally. It's not a personal attack. And don't let it get you down. But most of the time, they're going to say yes, I'm telling you. And if your message does not pertain to them anymore, they can always unsubscribe. But what you do is you get that verbal yes, and then you make sure to put them in your MailChimp list or your whatever email system that you use. Collecting emails isn't a one and done thing. It's a continual process. You'll get better over time. You'll have many methods and opportunities for people to enter into your online business ecosystem. Your email address list is gold. It is a huge asset for your online business. More so than anything else, more so than your social followers, anything. Make sure that you put it in your process, that you're continually working at just a little at a time, and then it'll snowball. It'll be like that little pebble that is up at the top of a snowy mountain, and then as it comes down, it's going to be bigger and bigger. So there you have it. 5 practical and doable things that you can do to grow your email list. Keep at it by creating these opportunities for people to want to give you their email address. By doing so, you're gathering a following who is personally selected in wanting to hear more from you. They want to refer you, and eventually they may buy from you. Well, thanks for listening, and I'd love to hear from you to know what your opt-in is. I would love for you to seek me out on Instagram, send me a private message there, or you can send me an email at podcast@gaylascrivener.com. If you'd rather do that, just drop me a note. Let me know that you listened to this episode and tell me what your opt-in is. Give me that link. I would love to meet you and be within your ecosystem. And if you don't have an opt-in yet, do you have any ideas? Are you stuck? Feel free to drop me a message, and maybe I can help you unstuck you. Well, again, thanks for listening, and if you found this episode helpful, I would be honored and appreciate if you'd subscribe and even leave your nice comments. Thanks again, and until next time, have a fantastic week.